Big election results in Wisconsin and Florida. In Florida, Republicans' slim majority in the U.S. House grew as two candidates won in special elections. And in Wisconsin, Judge Susan Crawford, she won the race for a seat on the state's Supreme Court. Now, this was the most expensive judicial race in American history. CBS News Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto, breaks it all down for us.
The story in Wisconsin was turnout. The view from the data desk as we are watching and we're watching votes come in was that we might see 2.3 million votes in this race. Now, for context, that could be around half, around 50% of the voters in the state. Why is that so large? Because it is a springtime election. It is a judicial election. You do not typically see those kinds of numbers. But what happened here, you had a lot of money spent, and that seems to have driven up turnout for both the conservative and the liberal side. But it definitely was to the advantage of Susan Crawford. And the big part of that was turnout and strong performance in Milwaukee and its suburbs, where she exceeded the vote margins from 2024 for Kamala Harris, from 2020 for Joe Biden. That shows you not just strong liberal or comparison Democratic turnout, but it also shows you that that effort to get those voters out worked in the areas that it had to, Democratic areas. They're in purple here. And I should also circle around Madison, Dane County, another Democratic stronghold. So as we saw those patterns in Democratic strongholds, you could see that Crawford was on her way to victory. The implications of this, Democrats, liberals may take away that they can get turnout up in off-year elections. We've seen that, examples of that before the 2024 election. So it doesn't necessarily foretell the future. And for conservatives, they'll have closely watched this. What will they see the impact being from Elon Musk, from all that money having been spent? That's going to be one of the big Washington discussions in the coming days. So that's the story out of Wisconsin. In Florida, Republicans hang on to two Republican-leaning districts. But the difference there is that those districts, as large as those margins are for the Republican in Florida 1 and for the Republican in Florida 6, they're still not as large as the natural partisan lean of the district. You might have expected another, say, 5 to 10 points, maybe more, in those districts for the Republicans. So, again, safe Republican wins there. Democrats may say, hey, that's a little closer than otherwise you might have expected. Again, more part of the discussion to come. And that's the story from election night.
Anthony Salvanto, thank you. Now, for those Florida races, let's get to CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion. Nikole, we know the GOP will hold on to 2 House seats. Can you talk about the significance of this for Republicans' power in Congress?
Yeah, well, I think Anthony hit the nail on the head in the sense that, yes, Republicans are able to retain their majority and have a few extra votes for Speaker Mike Johnson. But at the same time, these races were a little closer than Republicans would have liked them to be. And considering, for instance, in that Florida 6th district that Randy Fine won, his predecessor, Mike Walz, who's kind of been in the midst of that signal chat scandal, he won his seat by more than 30 points, whereas Fine just won it by about 14. So that's why Republicans were a little nervous, a little on edge about this seat. But for the most part, it doesn't necessarily change the way business will run in the House as Republicans add to their totals in the chamber.
Okay, I want to ask you about Senator Cory Booker because he made history on the Senate floor. Can you talk about his speech and what kind of reaction or responses is he getting from his colleagues? What are you hearing?
Wow, sitting in the chamber last night as the senator from New Jersey crossed that threshold and broke the record of the late Senator Strom Thurmond. You know, he was met with cheers and applause, both from his fellow senators, mostly Democratic senators who were in the chamber at that time. There were just a few Republicans. Also, some House members were in the rear of the chamber. There were spectators above the gallery, all applauding the New Jersey senator as he broke that record, speaking on the Senate floor for some 25 hours and 5 minutes. Interestingly, after that, one of his aides told us he had to sit down for a few minutes before he could come and talk to us in the press, understandably so. But look, you know, he said that Strom Thurmond's record was in the back of his mind as he tried to power through, most notably because Strom Thurmond, if people don't remember, was a segregationist. He filibustered for more than 24 hours against the Civil Rights Act. And so Booker, obviously being one of the few African Americans in Congress, did take note of that moment, really wanting to break that record. Notably because he said someone like Strom Thurmond might not have wanted to see someone like him in the chamber. So that was a key target for him. But I did ask him about what this means for Democrats going forward, if this will be a tactic they use to protest the Trump administration, given that a lot of Democratic voters have said they want to see more. And he did say that he understands that people want Democrats to do more to combat the Trump agenda, and that's why, in his view, he felt that doing this marathon speech was the right thing to do.
Yeah, 25 hours and 5 minutes. I'm not sure that's something you can do every day. Okay, Nikole, lastly, we understand a group of Senate Republicans are meeting with President Trump today at the White House. What is the purpose of the discussions they hope to have?
Yeah, that's right. Well, obviously, we know that the president, while he has been doing all of these executive orders, he does need some legislative backing to really turbocharge his agenda. And so Republicans, both in the House and Senate, have been working on a budget plan that they hope to expedite through a process called reconciliation. And so Senate Republicans are hoping to move on that next phase before they break for the Easter recess. And so that is why Leader John Thune and Republicans on the Senate Budget Committee are meeting with the president today to kind of talk strategy to try to advance that agenda, which of course will include funding for the president's initiatives on the border, for energy. They're hoping to extend his tax cuts, make those permanent. So all of those are part of the president's agenda. We also expect the Treasury Secretary on the Hill later today as well to meet with Senate Republicans to continue strategizing.
Okay, Nikole Killion, as always, thank you so much for joining us on the stream.